What up? This is Rama Screen, and in the anticipation of Cherry arriving in theaters April 14 and on VOD digital April 21, I'm here talking with one of the star of this new film, Alexandria Threwitt. How are you, Alexandria?
I am great. Thank you so much for asking.
Awesome, awesome. Congratulations on the film. I watched it recently, very much enjoyed it. In Cherry, you played the title character, Cherry, who has 24 hours to decide whether or not to keep an unplanned pregnancy. This story is very topical, obviously, after what happened last year. But Cherry, the way it plays out in Cherry is very personal, very simple, very straightforward, with a touch of delightful sense of humor. What was your initial reaction when you first read the script?
I was really excited. I think that it was a really beautiful personal story, like you said, and it's kind of. I think a lot of times you read a script and it covers, several days or weeks or even months sometimes, and so to really be able to just dig into this girl's life for 24 hours was amazing and a very different experience to be able to feel all of those things so deeply.
Nice. I really feel for Cherry. I mean, I'm not a woman, but just like Cherry, I am one of the millions who don't have healthcare because we live in
Yeah.
a society that doesn't guarantee healthcare. So, what I'm getting at is my question is, what was your process of embodying this character who suddenly finds herself in this situation where she's caught unprepared? And have you yourself ever been in a situation where the odds are just all stacked up against you?
Well, I am an actor, so all the time the odds are stacked against me. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that that is the best part because I mean, like you said about healthcare, I think that you can relate to like everyone can relate to so many pieces of her life because it's just, a shared human experience overall. I think that there's a lot there because sometimes you don't have like the best relationship with your parents, or you maybe your job is kind of ridiculous and you don't like it, or I mean there's something for everybody here, and so I think that's what makes her so easy to relate to, and that's what made it easy for me because I feel like I've been in one if not many of those situations, or my friends have. Like, I mean, you see it and you're hanging out with one of your friends and they're just like, yeah, you will not believe this, and I'm like, really? Okay, yeah. So I mean, like, life is as insane as you want to make it.
To follow up on that, the thing is, a big chunk of this film, you really, like I said, you really feel your heart just breaks for Cherry. And there's moments in this film where it could have easily gone to depressing route. Like the
Mhm.
story could get really heavy, but there's always those points of humor along the way. Talk to me about that, the conversation that you have with the filmmaker about that, because it the way that the story progresses into something hopeful at the end, that's to me, it's remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that was really important for me and for Sophie, is that we didn't want to have Cherry seem like a victim,
Mm,
because she's not. I mean, she's living her life. She's trying to make these choices, and I don't think that it always has to be this big, awful, screaming, crying event. I think that that's mostly how we see, abortion stories or stories of choice being displayed. There's been some horrific event of like a rape or incest or something just, unimaginable. But like so many women are in the same situation as Cherry, because I mean, like, even just circle back to healthcare, like this just happened to one of my friends of like she had been on antibiotics for like 6 months and had no idea that that almost cancels out her birth control. So like it's so easy to just make a mistake, and I don't think that we tell those stories enough, which contributes to the tabooness of Cherry's situation, of why she feels like she can't talk to someone, because you just don't really hear about those kinds of situations a lot. And then I think that in her head, maybe sometimes it's harder to justify because there hasn't been some horrific event. But it was really important for us to kind of spread that awareness of there doesn't, you still, you have the choice regardless of how it happened.
Well said. Very well said. I read somewhere that prior to this film, you had never roller skated before. Is that true? And what was that training like to make it seem as if you were a smooth, skilled roller skater in this film?
Thank you for that, first of all. Yeah, I trained for 6 weeks every
Wow.
day with Megan Wesky from the LA Roller Girls. And it was tough, a lot of falls. We had to send like little progress reports basically of like, hey, here's where we're at, just to see, what I might eventually be capable of by the time of shooting. And so it's actually really fun to go down memory lane of, oh, I remember when I couldn't do this. And then suddenly I could do my spins and then I could stop really well. And so it was a journey, but it was really nice to have a skill to be learning at the same time, because I haven't had the opportunity to do something like that yet on a film. So it was really great. And I worked really hard because I wanted her. I mean, I was also, trying to work out a lot because I wanted her to look like an athlete and feel like an athlete, because I mean, that's what they are. Like when I would go and see the like the LA Roller Girls perform, I mean, that is just what they are. They are so strong and so powerful. And I wanted to try and emulate that as much as I could.
Did you get to keep those shoes with you after the production?
No, and I have beef with that. So we have them like sitting like in on like a pedestal, like I see them and I'm just like, because I broke them in. Like one stopper is
Yeah.
like super worn down because it was my stopping foot. Like those are my skates. And she's like, well, you never know. We might need them for something. And I'm like, well, okay, guys.
Well, I feel for you. Here's a fun question though. Since Cherry worked some odd jobs in this film, she works at some kind of a party slash magic store, and her friend has a sort of a roller dance group, if you will. Alexandria, what were some of the oddest, quirkiest jobs you had ever done prior to being an actress? And do you have any regrets about any of them?
Oh my gosh, no, I don't regret any of them. I've done some really weird jobs though. Especially like in LA. I mean, being an actor, it's really tough to work around your schedule because you have auditions popping up, you have class, you have all of these like weird things that you're always trying to do. So I don't even know. Like I did a lot of like task rabbiting. So like that's just kind of, you're like hourly, like you can build IKEA furniture, you can work at like dinner parties and like all of these weird things. I did a lot of nannying, which is also a really interesting job in LA because there are so many different parenting styles. Sometimes you can't tell children no, and you have to just like redirect. And it was just like a lot of like this weird um collective experience, I guess, which made up like the majority of my early 20s. So, do I regret any of them? No, because like some of them were really incredible stories. I'm pretty sure I like hosted a cult event at one point too, which was like really insane, but like one of my favorite experiences, to be completely honest.
Thank you for sharing that. It sounds awesome. Now, I think some audiences will watch this movie and be unfairly judgmental towards Cherry, but some audiences will find Cherry to be a lot wiser than they give credit her for, because Cherry went to her parents to kind of get their perspectives and stuff like that, and she can bravely confronted her boyfriend. Do you think that this film sort of gives a blueprint manual for what a young woman out there in Cherry's situation could do when they are suddenly hit with the news of their own pregnancy?
That is a really interesting question.
Hmm.
I would hope that it is not the blueprint, because I think in a dream world, someone in that situation would have a lot more support than Cherry had. Um, I think that going to a clinic like Planned Parenthood would be great, but I'm like now there are so many like pregnancy crisis centers. Even that feels kind of scary because it's not, a real clinic. So I don't know. I think that my hope is that for it to not necessarily be the blueprint, but to be able to confidently walk through that decision with themselves, to be able to really just kind of analyze and know that whatever they decide to do, it's going to be okay. And you're still going to have people who love and care about you, and life will go on.
Awesome, and much success to your career moving forward. I know you work with Zoe and From Scratch, and you have that upcoming Electric State with Chris Pratt. Can you tease us a little bit about that upcoming project?
It takes place in the 80s, which is really fun. The fits are immaculate, as you can imagine. And it is, oh my gosh, what can I say? It's like, imagine if like VR were to get just totally out of control.
Wow, that is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Definitely. Looking forward to seeing that one. Of course, for my fans at home, everybody go check out Cherry, arriving in theaters April 14 and on VOD digital April 21. Alexandria, thank you so much for talking to me and congratulations.
Thank you so much.